Saturday, April 23rd here at Woodstock Soapstone, and it's snowing outside. We're going to attempt to light the wood stove in the showroom, but that could be somewhat of a challenge on a day like today. So in the showroom, we're checking the draft. It's raw and cold outside, but the external temperature is not that different from the internal temperature, which could adversely affect the draft. We don't have the shop running today, so since it's Saturday, the exhaust fans aren't running, so no negative pressure, which is in our favor. We'll see if we can get this lit. So Jamie, with the help of Miley, who just walked out of the picture, is going to put some newspaper and small pieces of kindling in the stove. See if we can get it lit. Obviously, if we had coals in there, this amount of kindling wouldn't be necessary, but we're going to see this will be helpful given, once again, the temperature difference between the outside and in here is not that great. Hopefully we won't fill up our showroom with smoke. It happens once in a while. It's annoying and irritating, but mostly embarrassing. It's helpful sometimes to just leave the door cracked. As you can see, at least the newspaper is taken off pretty good. So you see the smoke traveling downward just behind the glass? That's the air wash system. The air is coming in above the glass, and that's what feeds the fire, but also keeps the glass clean. And it's pretty dramatic. You can see how that airflow is with that little bit of smoke. Okay, so a couple of minutes have passed. You can see the kindling is taking off, and we have not filled the showroom with smoke, so I think we have a successful light off. We'll let that go for a while before we add some bigger splits. You can see we have an eco fan sitting on top of the stove. That generally starts to spin when the stovetop temperature gets to be about 325 to 350 degrees. That kindling's burning pretty good right now. It's probably a couple of minutes later. Any movement on the stovetop thermometer at this point?
It's reading about 100.
Yeah, it's okay, so about 100. So we're at the point where we're going to put in some real firewood, just kindling. If you don't already have a pair of the stove gloves that Jamie's wearing, are invaluable, not only for opening the door of the stove, but for handling firewood. So 3 pieces in. I'm going to start to turn the air down a little bit. It's been a...
We'll go down to just about number 2.
Number 2? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and close the bypass to engage the combustor. You'll see initially what happens to the flame. You can hear the stove. And we should see the stovetop temperature start to go up. It's been about 10 minutes since the catalytic combustor's been engaged, and Jamie's going to make a small air adjustment.
Go down just about number 1.
See the fire's going. It's still at a fairly low burn, but the fan is starting to spin. So it's definitely getting warm. You do see some of the lifting flame at the top of the firebox. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. Stovetop temperatures at 450 degrees. We still have some wood left in there, but we're going to put some more in so it can just cruise on its own for a while. You can see the fan on top of the stove is spinning away very nicely. And Jamie's going to add some more wood. First he's going to open the bypass and open the air damper all the way up before he opens the door. How many pieces do you have there?
I'm going to put 3 in.
3. Now after closing the door, we're going to let it burn for a few minutes before we close it up again. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes now. Everything's very engulfed. I'm going to close the bypass and turn the air damper down to about what?
To about number 1.
Number 1.
Let's see if we can show
Pretty
it.
comfortable setting for most folks. Your draft may vary enough that it might be a little less, might be a little more than 1, but that's kind of the sweet spot. This will continue to slow down a little bit and just let it cruise along for a few hours and keep the showroom warm.